Ophechius is the 13th sign of the zodiac. When we are earthed onto this plane, we are all earthed under one of the constellations, and there's 12 constellations that we are earthed in or born in. And so we grow up under the governance of the 12, and the 12 constellations and the energies of the 12 govern everything on this plane, including us and our lives. The luminaries and the planets and the constellations and the energies at work test us and assist us with our growth. So we are governed by them, and we are under their laws, under their rules. What happens is, when you attain spiritual enlightenment, which is what Thoth talks about in the Emerald Tablets, Jesus Christ taught it, or the Ascended Masters taught it, the Buddha taught it. When you attain enlightenment, what it means is you are filled with so much light on this plane in your physical vessel that you basically have enough light that you can incarnate your highest light onto this plane in your vessel right now, which means your higher self, your Christ-like self, your Christ consciousness can basically be anchored into you, and you are then a Christ on this plane, or an enlightened master, or an illuminated one. There's loads of different ways of describing this enlightenment state. So when you attain that enlightenment state is when you become the 13th zodiac, which is Ophechius. So no one is actually born under the 13th, and yes, that this is the case because the 24-hour clock literally splits into 12 segments that fit with the zodiac. So there's 2 hours per segment. One's the masculine version of that energy, one's the feminine version of that energy. So as an example, 6 till 8 when you wake up, that is Aries energy. 8 till 10 is Taurus, and it goes around the zodiac like that. So the 24-hour clock is split into the zodiac, which fits perfectly in the 12 because the 12 energies govern the clock. And I am aware that this is the case because I've done magic and tested it, and I can prove through magic that these zodiac signs govern those energies and those time frames, and there is no room for this 13th Ophechius. And so the 13th doesn't fit in the 24-hour clock, and it also doesn't fit in our zodiac. The 13th comes when we ascend our consciousness and our awareness, and we basically bring Christ consciousness into our vessel through doing the correct work and filling ourselves with enough light and ascending our kundalini up to the top. What happens then is you have enough light that you incarnate your highest light, Christ consciousness, on this earth. Then you become the 13th. So no one's born under the 13th, but if you do the good work and you attain Christ consciousness on this plane, you become the 13th. And that means the 13th is a higher manifestation and the higher aspect of the 12. Anyone can achieve it. It doesn't matter when you were born. All that matters is that you are walking the correct path to attain it. And so when you do become the 13th, you ascend those 12 constellations, those 12 energies that govern life here on this earth and the energy of this earth. Instead of them governing your life and governing your light, you use them. So you kind of ascend above them, and you're no longer under those laws and those rules. You can then actually use those laws and those rules through magic and through your light to use those energies for your advantage. And the thing is, when you become an ascended enlightened master, you aren't using magic for negativity. You're filled with so much light, you couldn't possibly be wishing and willing harm and negativity for humanity. So that is why God and the universe gives you those powers on this plane when you ascend and become that 13th, that Christ consciousness. So the number 13 comes into play because the number 13 is the letter M for magic, master, messiah. Also with the number 13, you had the 12 disciples, and Jesus was the 13th. You've got the 12 zodiac, and then Jesus was the ascended higher one, the 13th, which is Ophechius. And so some people talk about there being 13 months really, because there's a lunar cycle of 13 months, and that the calendar and the zodiac is wrong. That would only be if we were following the lunar calendar and following a lunar calendar, but we're actually following a solar calendar. The sun has the 12 signs of the zodiac. The 13th is something that we can attain internally once we bring enough light within.